war in the West Asia entered the fourth week. By the end of third week, the war became precarious, very tense. In fact, President Trump initially said the war will last for not more than 2 to 3 weeks. Even today, he is giving conflicting statements. One day he says the war will end very soon, so I can close the war in 10 hours if I really want. We have destroyed everything Iran has. So therefore, the war objectives have already been achieved. Another day he says we are ready for war till September. We have unlimited capacity. We were ready for forever war. So these are the conflicting statements coming from the President of the United States. But notwithstanding all these statements, by the end of the third week, the war entered a very dangerous phase. It all began with Israel attacking Iran's South Pars gas field. South Pars is one of the largest gas fields in the world. In fact, this is not just Iranian gas field. Iran shares this gas field with Qatar. On the Qatar side, it is called North Field. On the Iran side, it is called South Pars. So Israel attacked South Pars gas field, and in fact, Trump also tried to distance himself from this attack. He has openly said that we are not informed. But however, Israel said America is informed about the attack. Trump is aware of this attack. So, but the United States publicly doesn't want to commit itself to this attack on South Pars. So, this subsequent to the Israeli attack on South Pars, Iran has attacked energy facilities in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE. In fact, Qatar's energy declared that 17% of its gas production has been affected. So, by the end of the third war, with the war entering the fourth week, the war has turned dangerous as it extended to the energy infrastructure. Until then, energy infrastructure was spared. The war was essentially targeting the military facilities. Even when Trump attacked Kargil land, the very important energy hub of Iran, he has only attacked the military infrastructure. However, Trump continues to threaten Iran that America would obliterate the Iranian energy infrastructure, including South Pars and even Kargil land. Kargil land is so important because 90% of Iranians' oil exports are done from the Kargil land. So now this fourth week is another escalation phase. President Trump has given ultimatum, 48-hour ultimatum to Iran. So the ultimatum says if the Iran doesn't remove the blockade of Strait of Hormuz, United States will obliterate the power plants of Iran. The favorite word of Trump is obliteration. Obliteration essentially refers to complete destruction. So Trump ultimatum is to liberate the Strait of Hormuz. Just a background here. Strait of Hormuz is a narrow stretch of water between Iran and Oman. This is very critical for the global energy supplies. 20% of global energy supplies pass through this narrow stretch of water. In fact, the Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates depend on Strait of Hormuz for their energy exports, and countries like India, Japan, China and many Asian nations depend on Strait of Hormuz to receive these energy supplies. Well, of course, Iran is selectively allowing ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. It has allowing Chinese the unhindered access, and even the Pakistani ship has passed through the Strait of Hormuz. After Prime Minister Modi spoke to President Pezeshkian of Iran, Indian ships are also allowed to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. But Iran is strongly blocking American and Western ships from passing through this key oil passage route. So therefore, Trump is very frustrated with Iranian move. Well, Iran has been telling this right from the beginning. Even before the war commenced, Iran made it clear that if there is any military aggression on its country, then it would block the Strait of Hormuz. Not just the Strait of Hormuz, there is another choke point called the Red Sea. when Israel attacked Hamas, the Houthis, Iranian proxies, attacked Red Sea also. They are yet to join this war. They may be waiting for appropriate moment, but the Houthi leader has already declared that they will join the war in support of Iran. So, but they are waiting for a next stage of war. So, given this context, Trump has appealed to the NATO nations and appealed to countries like China also to join the efforts to clear the blockade of Strait of Hormuz. Trump wants warships of multiple countries to enter Strait of Hormuz to free the Strait of Hormuz from the Iranian blockade. But NATO nation refused to join Trump. Trump got very angry with NATO. He has even castigated the NATO leaders, calling them cowards. So he said there's nothing in NATO without United States. And all that censuring of NATO, now Trump says he will the United States will free Strait of Hormuz on its own. Interestingly, U.S. naval ships have not yet entered Strait of Hormuz. But the problem with the Strait of Hormuz for America is it is extremely difficult to prevent Iranian attacks because the Strait of Hormuz, the coast of Iran is you have huge mountains across the coast. So Iran can easily conduct discreetly attack the ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. And in fact, the ships passing through Strait of Hormuz have to take a turn quite opposite to the islands owned by Iran. So Iran can mount attacks from those islands too. So therefore, Iran can ensure low-cost attacks on ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Therefore, even America has not yet sent its naval ships. Now, the latest ultimatum of Trump is he will obliterate the Iranian power plants. This is a very serious threat because any such eventuality would be disastrous for the world. It is disastrous in several ways because Iran has huge nuclear power plant also. So, if America chooses to attack the nuclear power plant, it can even lead to another Chernobyl in this area. And Iran has already warned if its power plants are attacked, it would retaliate. What it will do? It will further intensify its attacks on the energy infrastructure in the neighboring Gulf countries, which are fighting on the side of the United States in this war, where the U.S. army bases exist. So this will be an all-out energy war, and Iran desperately depends on oil for power production. So Iran has no other way. It can't produce power from alternate sources. So there will be a humanitarian crisis in Iran. Hospitals will close down, oil production, pumping will stop. Desalination is an important source of water in this region. So that will be impacted, and Iran will hit the neighboring countries. Then there will be energy crisis will increase. Oil has already touched $120. It can even reach, it can go cross even $150 per barrel also. Well, there can be a possible worse scenario if Trump chooses to attack the Iranian power infrastructure. So therefore, the war is entering very, very dangerous phase with Trump's 48-hour ultimatum.